Hey, how's it going, everybody? Good morning. My name is Edward Giles, Edouard Gilles, aka the Holistic Motivator, and I'm happy to be here today to share another personal growth and motivation podcast with you, another holistic session. Today, I'm going to be talking about why the clutter in your space leads to mess in your mind. Why the clutter in your space leads to mess in your mind. One of the best ways to not have any clutter around you is to be in nature or nature. Be around the birds and the trees and the green, and that solves it all. However, we're still living indoors, so we tend to hold to clutter. So today's episode, what I'm going to be talking about is not necessarily the blueprint on how to clear all your clutter. I'm not going to talk about that today. But I'm going to be talking about some of the psychological reasons why you may be holding clutter, why you may be keeping the things in your life, and how these things may be blocking energy. Okay, so everything is energy. The trees behind me have vibrations. I have vibrations that's coming out through my words, through my aura. Everything is energy. Let's get that. And if you go to the basis of everything, you can say atom, you can say quarks. So the fundamental of everything has energy. So, which means your objects have energy. This cup has a specific energy. You might think it's a solid, but underneath it, there are tiny little moving particles. So everything is energy. So when you have a lot of stuff, then you have a lot of energetic things that may be going, like, I'm not supposed to be here with you, right? And also, things block energy. So not only things are energy, but things also block energy. Just like, let's say there was something in front of you and you wanted to look what's behind that thing. You can't see what's behind it. So sometimes we can't see what's behind the clutter. We can't see what's coming in our lives because there's so much stuck energy. Okay, so this is an awareness podcast, and it's really going to allow you to see the relationship between the clutter in your environment, as in the clutter here in your life, and then the mess in your mind. Okay, before I go into it, I would love your support by sharing this video to 5 friends and commenting done. If you're listening to the podcast, share the audio, text the link to one of your friends. Okay, this is a way of supporting the podcast. Alrighty, let's get started. Let's think about a time where you looked around your space, which means you looked around your room and you're like, what in the world is going on? You're like, what's happening here? I'll tell you about a time where I looked in my space and I was like, man, what's wrong with me? That's really the question I asked, because my stuff, my clothes was all over the place. My space was tightened. I was like, bro, and my mind, it was cluttered. My mind was cluttered and my space was cluttered. And I would try to sit in my room trying to get something done. It just wouldn't happen for me. And I kept thinking like, yo, I have to leave this space. I can't live here anymore. But I didn't have to leave the space. I had to leave my mental space, which means I had to change my mindset about what's really going on. So I went on upon a cleaning spree. Now, when you were a kid, you had a mother. You still do. But when you was a child, you thought like a child. You had a parent to urge you to clean up your room. That's probably one of the most common statements you heard from your parent. Go clean your room. And if you are a mom or a dad, you're probably telling your kids the same thing. Okay? The reason why you're going to tell them the same thing, sa ka la boss. Na fe class ta apre sa we. We loud. So after, yeah, so I was like, okay, you have a parent to tell you what to do. Now, you don't have a parent to tell you to clean up. So you got to become your own parent, because obviously there's something that needs to be dealt with. Okay, so when we no longer have the parent, we got to become our own parent. But let me tell you something that I found interesting. Think about how you responded to your mom or dad saying, clean your room. Did you respond with positive action, as in, I'm gonna go do it because I treasure what you say, mom? Or did you say, you always telling me to clean my room, you just keep nagging me? You know how we are as kids. This is what we're thinking, we ain't gonna say that. And then did you think like that? And then now I want to ask you the question is there somehow that there is a chance that you might still be rebelling subconsciously against your parents by not cleaning your room? Okay? And then let me bring it back to a spouse relationship. Let's say there's a spouse or roommates. Is your spouse and roommate in your eye becoming a parent? That's some psychology here. Is your spouse or roommate in your subconscious mind becoming a parent? And what that means is when your spouse and roommate come after you and be like, hey, listen, can you please clean up after yourself? Are they becoming a parental figure? Which means, do you start to rebuke what is obviously needed to be done because in your eyes, it sounds like they're telling you what to do, right? So I want you to think about that. Are you not cleaning up because you think someone is telling you what to do and you're going against them? You think you're going against them, but the truth is you're robbing your peace, right? That's the truth. So we're like, subconsciously, your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband says, clean, clean. You're like, no. Okay? So I want you to think about that. Now, next, also think about how was your parents in tidying up? Okay? So I love the commercial that says, we help you to not become your parents. It's funny, it's hilarious. Them advertisers really know what they're talking about, because what we do is we adopt the way our parents cleaned up their space, the way if our parents were hoarders, they hoarded things, we become hoarders. If our parents kept a lot of things clean and tidy, then we start to, find ourselves this way, right? And then at the same time, we prolong that. So my mom told me something that was interesting. Well, my stepmom told me something that was interesting. She said, when I was a child, I didn't live with my parents either, right? I didn't live with my parents either, and I always had to make sure I looked after myself. I always had to make sure that I cleaned up after myself, and I wouldn't leave anything where it didn't belong. I put it back in its place, and I make sure I clean and tidy up everything. Okay, so now the expectation is that, hey, you have to be this way, right? So my stepmom had this idea that, hey, and this is not a bad idea, this is a pretty good one, put the stuff back, clean up after yourself. All of these are great suggestions, right? But as a kid, you might be saying, I don't want to hear that. Okay, so the way she brought up expectations, now she brings up children just the same way. Now, we then adopt the cleaning style of our parents, right? So if you're from the island, I'm waiting for that phase. It's about to happen. You might become your parents. I'm just joking. Hey, it might be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. It can be a bad thing. The bad thing can be is your parents might have been having a clogged section of their mind, and they developed they was just being dirty. Okay. Hey, you don't like how I said it? I don't know. They were being dirty. Okay? They were just being dirty. And you're like, hey, it's okay to be dirty. And like, it's okay to just have everything all over. It's okay. It's okay to have clutter. That's just that's the old family way. This is the way I did it. Subconsciously. And then you might say, man, I don't like this. You might wake up every day and be like, why is this space always cluttered as a kid? Why is this always so much stuff here? You hated it. You hated it. Now you wake up 26 and you're doing what you hated subconsciously. Why are you doing what you hated subconsciously? Well, because our programmings doesn't always align with the way we see ourselves or what we necessarily want. It's just what it is. Okay? So I just explained to you two of the major reasons why your cleaning lifestyle is where it's at. So now that we've developed and we touch this the deep, we went underneath the surface, I'm gonna touch some other important things. Okay? And if you're now watching, like this video and share it. Let me comment that. Okay? Like this video and share it. So all right, let's think about what clutter is. So when you have too much stuff, the stuck energy literally sticks, and having too much stuff around you, it causes energy blocks in your space and in your body, right? So your chi field is also affected by what's around you. Okay? So you might be thinking like, why do I feel off when I walk in this room? You might have a lot of things that just bring you off. You might have an object that your ex gave you, but you found this object so useful, and you're like, I don't know if I can afford another one. So you kept it. And every time you're using it, you're like, this is so useful to me. But it's causing you every time you use it, subconsciously, your mood gets thrown off. But you don't even know that, hey, oh, my ex-boyfriend gave me this. But you never thought about it. Well, today, I just reminded you. You might have something from someone that's making your mind feel unease because it just brings back memories. So stuck energy is sticking, and if you have too much stuff around, it causes energy blocks, but there are emotions that get stuck to things. Hence another reason why we want to keep things, because I was just this week is a clutter clearing week for me. I'm doing extra clutter clearing. So I'm clearing the clutter that post the clutter clearing. Okay. That's a bit too much. Okay, what I meant is I cleaned before, but now I'm going in to see what can I throw away. And I was looking at, I saw a conference and I saw my company and my name. I'm like, why don't I need this? And subconsciously, it's status. I want to think, hey, I went to the conference. Here's my company and my name on it. And then I saw another conference where I presented at a college. I was like, hey, I presented at a college. And I saw 20 flyers of how to build constructive habits. One of the first nice little flyers from a college institution. I'm like, do I need 20 of them or do I just need one? So I tossed out the other 19. So I'm like, hey, I don't need this to remind me of the conference. I learned things from the conference. You get what I'm saying? So check your space to see, are you holding on to something because of the memory, and that something is actually causing a block, okay? So as you change things in your external world, your internal world starts to evolve, okay? As you balance your external world, your internal world starts to balance itself out, okay? So the drama in your life can be a result of the stuck energy in your environment, okay? So to create harmony, right? And then if you want to create more harmony in our lives and more space to receive things, hence we got to get rid of things. So let me tell you about a story about a cat lady. Where are my cats at? All right, where the cats? No cats, okay. The cat lady loved the cats. I love cats too. But let's say there was a story with the Febreeze. Now, this lady had a trouble keeping a date. Had trouble keeping a guy around. And she was like, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with her, right? But she just has a lot of cats. Now, Febreeze, a scent company, what they discovered was she was nose blind to the smells of the cat, or the different smells that the cats leave around, the scents. And she just didn't really know. Everything is straight here. I mean, it's normal. So your room can be stinking and you don't know it. Just FYI, you might need a second nose. Not a second opinion, a second nose. So she was like, I don't smell nothing. So they sent this Febreeze representative to her house because they was doing their experiment and how to really get rid of the smells. And what they found out was she was spraying these sprays that were masking the smell. The smell of her space didn't necessarily smell better. It was just like chemical plus stench, stench chemicals, chemical stench. Okay, so the issue was she couldn't smell it once. Then the air fresheners was only chemically adding chemicals to the stinkness. So Febreeze said, oh, okay, we can't develop a product that masks scents. Our best interest is to develop a product that literally at the basis of it eradicates the scent, like using science. So Febreeze said, let's get to the lab, let's work. And so they found out how to get rid of scent. And basically a scientist accidentally found out that by spraying this specific chemical in the air, the smoke, he could get rid of smoke. So when he goes, his wife won't keep telling him, quit smoking, quit smoking. So that's how Febreeze got developed. Make a long story short, just told you how Febreeze got developed. Make a long story short, they found out that the issue was that they needed to get rid of the scents. So basically she started using Febreeze, and all of a sudden, and I don't recommend, Febreeze, but whatever. She started using Febreeze, and all of a sudden she started to get more dates. The guy stuck around. And you're like, why would the guy stick around because of Febreeze? The guy stuck around because there was no more smell. Okay, so the guy didn't stick around because of Febreeze. They stuck around because of the scent that was no longer there. Now she found a boo. So she cleared up her space, cleared up the scent. That way you can attract love into your life, right? So as a guy, my stepmom used to tell me a lot, and she still does. Bro, I don't know how you're gonna have a wife. Because the way you're living, I don't think you're gonna be able to have a wife. Because if I was your wife, Lord, I don't know. So I'm like, Mom, don't speak that into my life. No, wait, I'm gonna have a wife. I'm gonna have a wife. So basically, you gotta clear up stuff to open up space, right? So if your room is really messy as a guy or girl, a guy or girl might not want to come in there. You get what I'm saying? So clutter clearing has a lot to do with attracting new things. And also getting rid of old things also open up space for better ones. You might have like this old poster on your board, and you're like, you have all of these posters, or you have decor, a lot of decor, and you're like, I really love this. I went to Mexico, and I remember I got this from Mexico. I went to Dubai, and I got this from Dubai. I went to New Orleans, and I got 20 keychains now, but dang, I need the New Orleans keychain. Well, what is this? Field of Dreams. I went to Iowa. I need this. I don't even know what this cup is about. All I know is I went to Iowa, and I got myself a cup. Now I've been drinking out of it every day. I need to get my holistic motivator cups. But we hoard things because we have emotions attached. We're like, I need this. And then what does the emotions have to do with anything? That have to do with identity. Emotions attached have to do with identity. Now we're like, hey, I'm a traveler. Travelers must have what do they call things you buy when you go away? Souvenirs. Travelers have souvenirs. So my identity is that I travel the world. Henceforth, I must have souvenirs. So my mentor has so many African instruments, trumpets and drums and so many things. I'm like, that's a lot. And posters everywhere. I'm like, how do you even stay focused? But all of these things have energy. It's a status too. When somebody walk in, they'll be like, dang, your house is a museum. That kind of sparks your ego. Somebody walks in and be like, dang, where'd you get that from? I'm like, yeah, that time I went to Cancun? Yeah, I went to Cancun, and now you get to tell a cool story. So status ain't a bad thing, right? You need to have conversations where they see a piece of art, and they really talk about that. But what I'm saying is, you don't need 30, because you can't have 30 conversations in one sitting, right? So you need about maybe 4 for each wall. One on this one here, one there, one there. 4 stories you can tell. And periodically, maybe you could swap them out. All right. So periodically, the decor can evolve. So the Japanese have the minimalism. That's why the Japanese, I really like them. They got the minimalistic. That's actually how Steve Jobs came up with the whole Apple minimalism branding technique, right? Is that he studied the feng shui in Japan. And that's why we love MacBooks, because they're just like so peaceful. So when we're sitting there, we're like, peace, simplicity. So let's think of how do we create that MacBook culture in our own space, right? Certain colors resembling nature. I'm wearing blue, right? That's a nice little color. Put your mind at peace. Green, light colors. White, spacious. I was thinking white with a hint of green, right? White with a hint of green. And they got these, I forget what it's called. So adding nature colors to your space, okay? So by clearing up minimalism, you're gonna open up your space. Now let's say you went out somewhere, you saw a really nice art piece, and you'd be like, dang, I wanna get that. But I ain't got no space. Now you could have gotten that and got something really nice, but you ain't got no space. Well, because you ain't wanna throw away old things so you can get new ones. Okay? So it's so important to let go so we can grow, so we can get. All right. So clutter categories. I want you to check out the book Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui by Karen. Forgot her last name for some reason. Okay. She shares 4 clutter categories in her book. The things that you do not use or love, they're just hanging out, right? It just blocks energy. You don't know why it's there. You just have it because it's there. The things that are untidy and disorganized, things that are all over the place, too many things in a small space. Like you got a little tiny little space, but you clogged it up, and anything unfinished. So those are unfinished tasks, unfinished conversations, calls you got to make, outstanding things that's taking up space in your mind. So the things you do not use or love, the things that are untidy and disorganized, too many things being in one small space, and anything unfinished are examples of clutter, which means you could have mental clutter. That's for different episodes. Okay, so this clutter, according to Karen, depends on the type of person you are, the amount of stuff you have, where in your home you keep it, and how long you've had it. It seems like the longer we have something, the more we want to keep it, because we're like, man, I had this for so long. Our identities are wrapped in it. And at the same time, we may be thinking to ourselves, what will I lose if this is no longer exists? And we also may be thinking to ourselves, by no longer having this, I might be missing out on this. Okay? So what are the effects of clutter? Okay? What are the effects of clutter? The effects of clutter include being super tired and lethargic, right? Being super tired and lethargic. Do you feel drained all the time? Do you feel like you don't have the energy all the time, right? Do you feel like, man, when I walk into this room, I'm just tired. I'm just tired every time I walk in here. I just walk in here and all of a sudden I'm tired. I don't even know why. Right? You try to sit on your desk, all of a sudden you're tired, but you go to Starbucks and you find a whole bunch of energy. And you're like, wait a minute. What's different than Starbucks in my space? The difference is Starbucks has a sense of zenness. Smooth music, clear space, minimalism, minimalistic design. So you're like, I go to the library, all of a sudden I get way more stuff done than I did in my room. Sounds like you got to declutter. And then at the same time is you might have to use the library for a little bit till you declutter. Okay? So they're like, these things are life-changing. Like, until I did the decluttering my own space, I just couldn't work here. Right? Is it I went outside, or I went to the library, or I went somewhere else? So decluttering is so important. This is a simple thing that changes your life. Right? These are the simple things that will shift your life forever, and your life will never be the same again. All right? So don't take these things lightly. I've been saying this consistently. Don't take these things lightly. Okay. Second, people treat you based on your level of clarity. And your level of clarity is based on your level of clutter. Less clutter, more clarity, better treatment. So the effects of clutter is the less clutter you have, the better you're gonna be treated because the more clear you're gonna be. Clutter also can be a factor in keeping you stuck in anxiety and depression. Not saying it's the only thing, but stuck energy is one of the major reasons why we get inflamed, why we are depressed, why we are anxious. So clutter in our space leads to anxiety and depression, a factor in it. Karen calls it geopathic stress, stress caused by the environment, by the geography. And it also can create excess baggage. Create excess baggage, which means just having too much stuff around you. And when you feel like you have to move, it's just so much. You're like, you feel like you want to move, but you don't even want to move now because you feel like you have to hoard so much stuff. And then if you want to move, now you got to get a storage to put some stuff. And that hurts your finances because now you got to pay monthly storage fees. So clutter costs, not just mentally, but it also costs from a financial standpoint. Clutter don't only cost financially, but clutter costs in time. The more clutter, the more dust, the more dust, the more cleaning. Now you got to do a lot of cleaning, way too much. More dust, less clarity. Sinuses backed up, mental clarity diminished, right? More dust doesn't help with anything, okay? Less clarity. Now, also causes a disorganized in your life because now you can't find things. Do you know where your keys are? Do you have a specific spot for it? Now you can't find anything. So now you're disorganized. Before you go out, you can't be zen about. You walk out the door stressed because you were looking for this one thing this whole time. And I'm trying to get out. Oh, I can't find it. The worst feeling in the world is looking for something you can't find. Okay? And it just distracts you from the important things. So, clearing our clutter can change our lives. But first, we have to understand the relationship between clutter and chaos, and the relationship between clarity and clean. Clutter, chaos, clarity, clean. Clean your space and be clear. If you stay cluttered, you're gonna be in chaos. So the mess in your space causes the mess in your life. And to change your life, you could change by simply changing the space. Now, this is not the one change that's gonna change your life forever, but it's the one change that will give you a sense of clarity so that way you can do everything else to change your own life. That's my message, and I'm sticking to it. It's the Holistic Motivator, and I want to thank you all for tuning in to another personal development session. By the way, I just posted this donation link, right? I drop you a 30-minute workshop every day, and if you want to show some support, oh, tree just fell on my head. Go to edtalksdaily.com/donate. Now that will be like your way of supporting. You'll be like, okay, why I want to support you? Well, because I've been doing this every day since March, and I would like to continue this down to 2021. And without necessarily having to make it super exclusive, I could share it every day with everyone, as soon as that it's fueled by the people. So when you send a donation, what you're doing is you're pretty much fueling the daily workshop that I do, and you're saying, hey, I like the value you give. I'm gonna give some value to you. It's not like, I'm saying send me money. I'm just saying, hey, show some support. And by that way, it keeps me every day. Now I'm able to invest the time. So part of the donations is to keep up the websites, maintain the promotions, and just help the podcast evolve. edtalksdaily.com/donate, or you can just Cash App EdTalks. I've been forgetting to talk about this because this is one of the ways that I actually fund the podcast is through donation based. So if you want to show some love, if what I said to you added value today, go ahead and donate. Okay, so my brand is all about service, really. However, I realized that the profit cannot be broke. It's just a statement people say. Don't go out there, hey, I'm trying to change the world and then stay broke. So that's why I provide services. I provide ways for you to donate. What are some of the services I provide? I provide life coaching or holistic health coaching. I provide peace programs, like for 4 weeks of peace program that I have ongoing, where I share stuff like this with you. Now, mind you, this is exclusive for the peace program, but I share it live too, right? And then the peace program get more structure. And I also do live coaching, and I have a weekend class, tryqigong.com. All ways of support. You might be like, yo, I don't want to come to your class. Hey, I don't want to sign up for coaching. Hey, okay, fine. I'm still going to pour into you regardless. I'm not going to stop pouring into you because I know what's going on. It's a lot of, right now, we're going into a recession, right? So I know what's going on. So there's a way of service I can serve you anyway, right? So let's say, hey, I can't take advantage of your coaching program. Fine, listen to the podcast, edtalksdaily.com. Subscribe to it. You're pretty much going to get free coaching. Now, it's not personalized, but if you actually don't take it lightly and apply some of the things, you're going to see a lot of changes, okay? So that's my promotional section of the podcast, right? It's like, hey, you're tuning in to Ed Talks Radio, and I got to do ad rows. You know what I'm saying. Bear with me here. So thank you for listening to that and sticking through it, not just taking the message and going, but also taking, hey, listening to what I have to say about what I have to offer. So I really appreciate that. Once again, share this video or this audio to somebody so you can impact them. And I just want to remind you that you have the unlimited power in you to clear your space, clear your mind, reduce the clutter, attract abundance. Let go, let God, let go so you can grow, okay? But you got to start to take the initiative. Yo, I'm going to clear my clutter. I'm going to get rid of things. I'm going to clear my life, okay? These are the things that are changing, that have changed my own life. And every day I just share with you the tools that have helped me. You can try them out, but always make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion. Keep sharing your light. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. That's my message, and I'm sticking to it. Thank y'all for watching here. Yep. So by the way, thank y'all for watching once again. Peace.